Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Benoit, and this is my Makerspace project. We're calling it the STEM Raft Challenge. And basically, some of the science and engineering skills that students will be going over during the project are they're going to be learning about water density, water currents, and buoyancy from their science teacher, as well as some engineering skills such as building structures. Some of the AASL standards that are connections to STEM education and the library are as follows. Some of the collaborate STEM examples and AASL standards are A2, developing new understandings through engagement in a learning group. B2, establishing connections with other learners to build their own prior knowledge and create new knowledge. And D3, recognizing learning as a social responsibility. Students will also be using the AASL standards of Explore B1, problem solving through cycles of design, implementation, and reflection. B2, persistence through self directed pursuits by tinkering and making. And C3, collaboratively identifying innovative solutions to a challenge or a problem. Now, for the project, some of the materials that you will need are as follows. Some popsicle sticks or regular sticks or pre-cut wood. You also need different types of glue, different types of tape. For the more advanced, you could use glue sticks and glue gun. You also need different types of strings or pipe cleaners or zip ties, plastic water bottles and scissors, large toothpicks or dowels or straws, and various U-shaped objects. The more variety of materials that you provide for your students, the more variety you'll have in your projects themselves. Some students may need a step-by-step guide on how to create the wrap. So I did provide a version for middle school and elementary school level, and then also maybe an upper level high school version of the step-by-step guide. But basically, students will need to know the different parts of the raft. So they need to create a base, they need to create a structure where the rudder is going to go, and a spot for basically a fin that is going to direct the currents of the water. However, you could put all of the materials out and also allow the students to create freely what they want to make the raft and what objects and materials they want to make the raft out of. Skip tip. We also have a more advanced version where students could use a pre-cut designed piece of wood that already has some holes in it for them, and some sticks. And what they're going to do is tie the two pieces of sticks underneath the base with either zip ties or pipe cleaners is what I used here. And then they also want to create a way to have a dowel that is going to direct the current of the water in the back. So they need to connect the U-shaped object and enclose it. But then they also need to create a fin for their raft to use to direct the currents of the water. Some of the benefits of this project is it encourages collaboration, creativity, and hands-on learning. Students will need to learn and will learn from their science teachers and their librarian different ideas that have to do with water density, buoyancy, water currents, and how to design and engineer a structure. This really helps students problem solve and develop their critical thinking skills. It also encourages some cross curricular lesson planning, which we'll go over at the end of the project. Next, some of my experiences with creating this. I do not have a class that I worked on with it, but I did create this with my two older nephews. The project was very fun and enjoyable. I wanted to create two variations of the rafts for different age groups because it allows teachers and librarians to scaffold the project. It also was really exciting to see how the finished project works in water. So after students are done creating their raft, there are multiple ways to test to see how it floats, also how it works in different currents of water. The project was not difficult. It's pretty straightforward. The concepts need to be taught by a science teacher beforehand, though, in order to teach students about buoyancy, water density, and how water currents work. Challenge that I do foresee, it may be difficult for some students to test their rafts due to school restrictions. You can bring in a bucket of water. You could test the rafts in a sink in the bathroom, but not all students are going to be able to do that. Maybe their school might not allow water in the library, or be able to go to the bathroom to test it. So you could also test it in a stream or a puddle outside. This is a great opportunity to let your students kind of explore. Some types of glue do not hold well in water, as I found out. Hot glue is not the best in water sometimes, so wood glue might be a good alternative. Not all groups will be able to work well together, so some remediation may be needed to change student groups up or let some students work individually. Students will need to learn about the different parts of the raft and how they work in water. So that might be a little challenging for some of the lower level students or lower grade levels. Some advice that I have when implementing this project is, again, the more materials that you have available for students, the more variation the students will have to create the raft. And also allow your students to fail. Have students test their raft in water, and if they fail, let them try again. It's okay for them to fail, and then create solutions to the problem and what worked and what didn't. This project was pretty cheap. It depends on the number of students, but I did my cost kind of based on an average class size of about 30 if you were doing it with the full class. Cost about maybe $50 of materials that maybe you didn't have to begin with. The popsicle sticks could be expensive. Some of the glues and strings, if you don't have them available, could be a little expensive. Popsicle sticks for a group of 30, about maybe $20. Different types of glue, maybe 10, strings about 10, and any additional materials, if you don't have it, maybe another additional 10. Anything else that I'd like to share? This project is very fun for any age group. You can vary the level of difficulty depending on the materials that you provide. This is also cool if you do have a river or stream or even something outside that of your school. This would be a great opportunity to take an outside field trip with your class to test your rafts. Here are some of the completed projects and kind of how I tested them to see how they worked. The smaller raft, was really good, but maybe the glue didn't hold up very well. The second raft was amazing. It worked really well, and it was also cool to see if you turn on the sink how the two rafts work in different types of currents. And finally, this is a great cross curricular opportunity. Rafts can be constructed in science class and in the library, but used at the same times that students are reading different books. You could use this with Huckleberry Finn. They obviously, literally travel on a raft. You could also use this while teaching the Hunger Games and, some survival skills to try to, work with a raft in a current or a stream. But altogether, the project was very fun and easy to do.